Connor Zilisch is out this weekend due to injury. Ford is open to increasing the horsepower at least a bit. And Cleetus McFarland now has 2 penalties in as many ARCA races. How's it going, y'all? My name is Eric. Welcome to Out of the Groove. Catching up on some of the biggest storylines from this past week. Tomorrow, I'll be at Texas Motor Speedway. Friday, Saturday, Sunday, if you're at the track and you see me, feel free to come say hi. The weather looks phenomenal later this weekend. I am looking forward to 3 days of high-speed stock car racing action. Actually, I forgot sprint cars are racing at the Texas Motor Speedway dirt track as well. The High Limit Series is in town. I think Christopher Bell is making his High Limit sprint car debut tonight. Unfortunately, I won't be able to make it out, but I might be able to make it to Saturday night's race. I'm hoping to at least check out a high limit race. I've seen sprint cars race in person. I've never been to a high limit race. That's Kyle Larson and Brad Sweet's project. Hopefully I get the chance to check it out. But anyway, a lot of great racing happening in the Lone Star State this weekend, but we've got some news to catch up on, beginning with some unfortunate news out of junior motorsports. Connor Zilisch will miss this weekend's Xfinity Series race at Texas due to an injury sustained at Talladega last weekend. Both junior motorsports and Trackhouse released a statement saying, quote, Kyle Larson will sub for Connor Zilisch behind the wheel of the number 88 Chevrolet this weekend at Texas Motor Speedway as Zilisch continues to recover from a lower back injury sustained last weekend at Talladega. No additional details have been given besides lower back injury. It was a vicious impact at Talladega Superspeedway. Zilisch doing a great job in his Xfinity Series Talladega debut, leading the pack on the final lap. His good friend Jesse Love, who had a rocket ship all afternoon, cut to the inside. Zilisch tried to cover. They made contact. 88 goes spinning. Vicious impact into that inside safer barrier. Unfortunately, he will not race at Texas this weekend. Now, NASCAR has already confirmed that he will be granted a playoff waiver. JRM confirmed Zilisch has been granted a playoff waiver by NASCAR and remains qualified for the 2025 Xfinity Series playoffs. As expected. This is all such a huge bummer for the young, talented stock car prospect. He is still only 18 years old. He's 11 races into his rookie Xfinity Series season. He's already won 3 pole awards, bad fast in qualifying. He's got a handful of top 10s. He won at Circuit of the Americas, of course. Led over 100 laps at Martinsville. He sits comfortably 6th in the regular season points. Talladega, drafting, pack racing, all still very new to him. Saturday was a learning experience. You just hate for the learning experience to happen that way. The good news for Connor Zilisch is that after this weekend's race at Texas Motor Speedway, the Xfinity Series has a few weeks off. They race, May 3rd here, and then their next race is May 24th at Charlotte. So if you go back to Talladega, that's more than he'll have almost a whole month off between races. So hopefully that gives him plenty of time to recover. It's important, in my opinion, that JRM and Trackhouse wait until Connor Zilisch is at least 95% good. Young driver, again, still trying to adjust to oval racing, stock car racing. The last thing you'd want is for him to be uncomfortable in the seat, maybe develop bad habits. The kid's got such a long runway, such a bright future. You don't want to take any unnecessary risks this early in his career. We look at recent back injuries sustained in NASCAR. Last year, Eric Jones missed 2 weeks after he crashed at Talladega. A couple years ago, Alex Bowman, it was a sprint car crash, but he hurt his back, was out, 4 weeks, missed 4 races. So hopefully, and again, every injury is a little different, hopefully that means Texas is the only race Zilisch is forced to miss. But again, you don't want to rush him back. We've seen veteran drivers get hurt their backs, and not look the same afterwards. After Alex Bowman's back injury, he did not have a great season. Denny Hamlin in 2013 had a career worst season immediately following that back injury at Auto Club Speedway. So again, no additional details, just a lower back injury for 18-year-old Connor Zilisch. Hopefully Texas is the only race he'll be forced to miss. Wishing him a speedy and full recovery. There's been a lot of talk the past few weeks about the Cup Series racing product, the next-gen car, its pros, its cons, its shortcomings. If you spend any time on social media, a common plea you'll hear from NASCAR fans is, please give us more horsepower. Remember, when they first tested the next-gen car, they capped it at 550 horsepower. At the last minute during an off-season test at Phoenix, they ratcheted it up to 670. That's what we have now at most tracks. But the engines are still being choked down. What's in the cars are capable of producing over 900 horsepower. Doug Yates, CEO of Roush Yates Engines, they build the engines for the Ford NASCAR Cup Series teams, was on Sirius XM NASCAR radio this week and was asked about the possibility of increasing the Cup Series horsepower a bit. Yates said, quote, "If we were to increase the power from 670 to 750 horsepower, that probably wouldn't be much of a change for us today. But to go back to those 900 horsepower engines, that would be quite the project, and it would definitely decrease the life of the engines." He goes on, of course, to talk about cost concerns, but he said we could up the horsepower by nearly 100 and it wouldn't be a big issue. This is not the first time we've heard this. The problem is, I guess we don't know if 750 horsepower alone would make that much of a difference. I mean, it'd be a good place to start. These comments, though, from Yates, I think are further proof that this isn't really an OEM thing. I don't really think the manufacturers are the ones necessarily clamoring for lower horsepower. Like, they may not want 900 horsepower. The teams may not want 900 horsepower because, to Doug Yates's points, the engines become less reliable. The wear and tear will be more significant. You'll end up going through more engines. It's more expensive. 900 horsepower, I get it if the teams don't want to go that route once again. But 750, which we had at the end of the Gen 6 era at short tracks, seems very much on the table. So why has NASCAR not pulled that lever? I think it goes back once again to something we talked about yesterday. NASCAR loves close racing. The 550 horsepower package back in the day at the intermediate tracks attempted to create mini super speedway racing. NASCAR wants a product that looks good on television when the casual fan is flipping through channels. Denny Hamlin said it best on his podcast a few weeks ago. Drivers may not be able to make passes, but it looks like they're close enough to make a pass, and that's what NASCAR seems to believe the casual fan cares most about. And maybe they're right, but in my opinion, that view is short-sighted. You can't simultaneously beg for drivers to become superstars, but then punish greatness the way they do. I said this yesterday, but with the current playoff format, we'll never see another 7-time champion. No one will ever contend with Petty, Johnson, or Earnhardt's records. With a spec car, we'll never see 80 to 90 career wins like Jeff Gordon collected. Many of the records that stand today will never be broken because there are so many rules in this sport now that prevent great drivers from separating themselves from the pack. Less horsepower is just part of that. So that's my takeaway, hearing Ford basically say, yeah, we could up the horsepower by 100 and wouldn't be an issue. Why haven't we done it? My guess is NASCAR is the one making the call. Remember, they wanted 550 horsepower in this car pretty much everywhere. They begrudgingly settled at 670. They are very unwilling to go up even further, it seems. I don't agree with the philosophy, but that's the philosophy I believe NASCAR holds. Elton Sawyer's comments yesterday we talked about, I think, were even further proof of that. Anyway, I want to talk about Cleetus McFarland for a moment, because I feel like I'm the only person on the internet who really hasn't talked about Cleetus McFarland all that much. He ran the ARCA race at Talladega this past weekend. It was his second career ARCA start. Remember, Daytona was in the draft running well, but got caught up in a couple of crashes. Not his fault. Talladega went down a cylinder, low on power, yet still hustled that Rhett Jones racing car to a top 10 finish. His first ARCA top 10. Really cool stuff. Had over 80,000 concurrent viewers on his in-car live stream. Cleetus, of course, is a YouTuber, social media star, has a large, passionate fan base that I think does overlap with much of NASCAR's core audience. So it's been a really good match so far. There have been a few bumps in the road, like I mentioned the crashes at Daytona, not his fault. This week, the ARCA midweek penalty report listed that Cleetus had been fined $5,000 and had been placed on probation and will be forced to take additional driver safety training for violating the personal safety equipment rules. I couldn't see any specifics. I don't know if it's what he had the wrong gloves, if his helmet was out of spec, an issue with the fire suit, the shoes. Maybe it was something like the Hans device or the belt that wasn't up to ARCA and NASCAR's modern standards. I don't know what it was, but it's the second time already Cleetus has been hit with a safety equipment violation. During his test session at Daytona in the winter, he was also supposedly placed on probation for having safety equipment that was not up to ARCA's standards. So he's a dual offender, and he's only run 2 races. I've never met Cleetus McFarland. I'd say I was a casual viewer of his channel before this year, but I've seen some discourse on social media. Not all fans love the Cleetus McFarland character and don't necessarily love the impact or the effect he's having on the stock car racing world. And I understand that to a degree. Look, I listened to Cleetus's interview with Kevin Harvick's Happy Hour this week, and he'll say things like, oh yeah, the plan is to run the Daytona 500 in 2 years. And I'm like, whoa, okay, well, you've run 2 ARCA races. Cleetus admits that he really didn't know anything about NASCAR until this year. He's brand new at this, and he's already pledging to run the Great American Race in the near future. I could see how that would rub some fans the wrong way, a little cocky, maybe a little arrogant, and maybe that's not the right word, maybe just a bit naive, perhaps. Point is, I understand if not everyone loves the Cleetus McFarland character. I get it, and I do think there could come a point, if he's serious about his stock car racing career, there could come a point where the character might need to take a back seat to the actual race car driver job. Like right now, Cleetus is treating this whole thing like a side quest. His full-time job is creating content, playing a character, being a YouTuber. Racing is like a side hustle for him. And when you're an ARCA driver, you can do that. For most ARCA drivers, racing is a side hustle or just something they're doing for the love of the game. But if Cleetus is serious about working his way up the ranks, he's close with Greg Biffle, of course, who's on the NASCAR Hall of Fame ballot this year. If he's serious about moving up to trucks, Xfinity, and one day competing in the Daytona 500 or any Cup Series race, at some point, the novelty of the Cleetus McFarland character is going to wear off, and I think people will expect him to take the actual racing more seriously. That's not to say he can't have personality, show character, all that stuff. I'm just saying, right now, all this is just a fun, frivolous summer activity to him. Once you get up, especially to the Cup Series, it's work. It is the pinnacle of American racing. It is a job. So I could see, if he continues to progress down this rate, the Cleetus character having to evolve, and it'll be interesting to see how fans respond to that. But right now, I think what Cleetus is doing is phenomenal for ARCA specifically, but really for stock car racing overall. I think he's brought some much needed personality into the garage, into the media sphere. I think what he's doing is not only elevating his own brand, but is also elevating especially the ARCA brand, if not NASCAR more broadly. And while the repeated safety violations aren't a great thing, it kind of shows his old school racer's edge. I'm gonna do my own thing, rules be damned. Like that, NASCAR was built on that outlaw mentality, skirting the rules. And that's kind of what Cleetus has embraced, not only in his YouTube career, but even now in his racing career. And that's all I'm saying is right now I see only good things Cleetus McFarland, aka Garrett Mitchell, are bringing to the stock car racing world. I understand if the character's not for everyone, but it's undeniable that his impact the past his couple of races has been extremely positive. My only question, my only concern is going forward. If he's really serious about running the Daytona 500 in 2 years, will his process have to change at all? I don't know. It'll be interesting to follow this journey if it continues the trajectory it's currently heading at. Anyway, those are just some of my thoughts, broadly speaking, on Cleetus. I'm not sure what Cleetus's ARCA schedule looks like this year. He's obviously not full-time. I thought I saw somewhere he has Bristol circled for later this year, which would be a radical shift from Daytona Talladega. I'm not sure if that's confirmed. That's still months away, but I mean, good luck to Cleetus. I hope he and his team continue to have fun with it, continue to produce great content, and hopefully some more good results on the racetrack come their way as well. But let me know what you think down in the comment section below. Are you a fan of what Cleetus has brought to the NASCAR racing world the past few weeks? Let me know what you're thinking down in the comment section below. Just want wanted to share some of my thoughts since I really hadn't talked about him much on the show this year. Leave a like on this video if you enjoyed. Subscribe for more NASCAR news, content, commentary, and so much more. Should have some exclusive content coming your way this weekend from Texas Motor Speedway. Looking forward to sharing that with y'all. Have a great rest of your night, folks. I will talk with you again soon. Take care, y'all.